As you will have seen from them clips, every single day starts off with a coffee. I am a huge coffee guy, and that is a non-negotiable for me. Just went down to Arabica and got a oat milk white Americano. Now, with that only being 50 calories, a lot of people would usually just not track this and disregard it and just see it as almost like a free calorie. But that is not the case. You know, when you're in a fat loss phase, every single calorie matters, and you have to think about the way that those 50 calories can compound across a week, especially if you're having one every single day. That's going to be 350 calories across that week. And then if you go across a month, that's going to be even more, around 1400 if my maths is correct there. So you can see how that can soon compound. So you need to make sure that you're getting into the habit of tracking all of the calories that you do take on board. Now, what's important to mention is that before I did have that caffeine, I was up for an hour prior to that. I got up at around 5:45 a.m. But for that first hour of the day, I'm not touching a phone, I'm not touching a camera, and I'm not looking at a screen if possible. I will be journaling, I'll be reading, and more importantly, I'll be taking on an electrolyte with a minimum of a litre of water. And that is how I will start each day. And then that will put me on until my first meal, which will usually be at around 10 o'clock. After I have finished my first work block. And my first work block is exactly what I'm going to get stuck into now. Got around 9 or 10 check-ins to get through, pardon me, and then I have got some programming to do as well, but that might end up being after. So I'm going to get stuck into these check-ins, and then we'll get out for that first meal. Hello everyone, how's it going? I thought you would be saying here about the great week in jet track, recovery, feeling great, even the weight was weak. We are bringing them up at the correct rate. First meal of the day here at Derry, and what you will see is that I'm keeping it simple. 4 eggs, sourdough, mushrooms, just the same as exactly what I would do if I was eating at home, not getting anything fancy or going extravagant because I'm eating out. This way we can be as accurate as possible when it comes to the tracking. So we're going to get stuck into this and then of course carry on with the day. The second and final coffee of the day now, and a good little tip that I thought I'd share with you on here is we could have easily sat where we had the eggs and the sourdough and had our coffee there, but rather than doing that, we've got an extra 1,000 to 2,000 steps in between that place and the coffee shop. Let that food digest, let that blood sugar stabilise out, and then you're having that hit of caffeine then. So I'm going to have this coffee, go back, go through another 3 to 4 hour work block, and then we will be into meal 2, which again is going to be super simple and basic, and I will show you what we get once we are there. Yes guys, so we've just finished up a 2 hour work block there, and we're about to head to the gym. Pre-gym nutrition, super simple. This is all I've got. This looks pretty mad holding it like this with no skin on. Just simply a banana. It does not need to be more complicated than that. I would like to have a little bit of honey and some salt on this, but I don't have access to that in the apartment, and that is absolutely fine. You can only work with what you've got. So quick, easily digestible carbs. It's not going to sit in my gut. It's going to give me that glycogen that I need, and it's going to fuel me for the workout. Now, if I was doing a bigger workout and I was doing some kind of conditioning, some kind of cardio, maybe a leg day, then I would make the effort to go and have some more carb than this. I would look to have around 0.75 to 1 gram of carbs per kilogram of body weight, but this is simply just a push session, so a banana will do. Keep it low calorie, and then I will have a big meal post lift with carbs, proteins, fats, and a great balance across that meal. I'll take you to the gym. I will show you some of that session, of course not all of it, because this is about what I'm eating in the day, and then we will of course go for that meal after, which I will break down as well. Let's do it. Just finished up the training session there, as you can probably tell from the sweaty face. A decent session, just in for push, and then meant to have 20 minutes steady state cardio at the end, but none of the machines were actually working pretty much, so I ended up doing 10 burpees on the minute every minute for 20 minutes. So getting it done, there's never any excuses, there's always something you can do. And that now leads us into the biggest meal of the day, which is the post-workout meal. Gonna just be going down to a local run, getting some chicken, some rice, some broccoli. Again, simple meals, the same thing you'd make at home, and I'll show you when we get there. Just finished up with the second meal of the day there, which as you saw was a chicken and rice dish. Sorry for not getting a clip whilst I was in there, I just completely forgot. But just kept it simple. As you saw from the variety that's there, it'd be very easy for you to just start filling up your plate, just picking everything and getting carried away. But the simple rule across this day of eating is to pick what you would make at home. Chicken, rice, a simple veg. Get your fibre in there, get your carbs in there to replenish stores after training, and then of course getting your protein in as well, because we want to be spiking that muscle protein synthesis as soon as we can after that session. Now the next thing that I'm going to be having is an electrolyte, of course, sweating heavily training over here in Bali. Ideally I would have had this straight after training, but I didn't have access to it. We've literally just gone and picked them up now. It's a brand called Resalt. It's 1,000 sodium and 250 potassium and magnesium, so replenishing those electrolytes, which is of course essential for muscle function and for recovery as well. So I'm going to hammer this down, and then we have got a work call and then a pretty chilled evening, and then we will get into the final meal of the day, which is going to be some form of red meat. Probably go for beef patties and then keep the carbs nice and low there. I'll have a half portion of brown rice and then again some veggies to keep me full, and that should round me off at about 2,050 calories for the day. So currently in a dieting phase, look to drop around 6 kilos, get down to around 10 to 11% body fat, and then maintain that throughout the Australian summer. Right, well we've just ordered the final meal at the day, which was a build your own minced beef, potato, smashed avocado. It's I don't know what's going on with beef, it's the guy bringing it's eating half of it on way here, but this is what we're working with. So higher in fat with the mince and avocado. Potato is such a good option because it's low calorie, satiating and filling as well. So this is going to be the final meal. I was definitely hoping for a bit more mince than that, but it's all good. It is what it is. I honestly cannot believe that portion of mince that I've just put up with at that restaurant there, but that wraps up the full day of eating. I'll put up all the calories, macros and the total price for the day here as well. And what you will actually notice is that this does not meet the requirements that I am meant to be eating each day. I'm a little bit under on my calories and I'm a little bit under on my protein as well, but that is the reality when you are having to eat out every single day. But as long as you are sticking underneath your limits, as long as you are trying to get that protein as high as you possibly can, then sometimes that is just simply going to be the reality. And I also leave a couple of 100 calories here for the hidden oils that are in foods. The hidden oils that are in foods when you eat out at restaurants, this is something that a lot of clients do not account for, and it's something that you have to be wary of. When they put these calories on menus, you have to take them with a pinch of salt because they aren't including for the oils and the fats and the things that they are cooked with within them. So that is a total day of eating, 3 meals there. I actually did have a protein shake in there as well that I didn't manage to record, so I'll put that in there as well. But other than that, just a super simple day of eating, and I hope that that shows you the key ways that you can stick to your nutrition even when you are eating out. But the main lesson is to simply just mirror the meals that you would make at home as close as you possibly can. And if you do that, then you won't go too far wrong. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've taken some value away from it. If you have, drop a subscription. It would be more than appreciated. And I will see you in the next one.